Hi everyone and welcome to Apprenticeish, where we talk all about apprentices, apprenticeships, kind of. Today, I'm about to expose the corporate environment. Alright, I want to start off with how I perceive the corporate environment to be, especially the legal corporate environment. I'm not going to really talk about business because I never was so interested in like the business working environment or the sales working environment. I think we've all probably already watched Suits, but when we think about the legal corporate environment, we think of Suits, we think of nice offices, big doors, swanky teas and coffees and biscuits and chefs and, you know, waiters and waitresses and just like working at like ridiculous hours. But you know what? The firm will buy you some Chinese food or, you know, just food. They have a canteen, something that is corporate. The point that I'm getting at is I'm sure even you watching already have ideas and preconceived notions about what it's like to work in the corporate environment. And I kind of just want to break that down because some of it is true and some of it is not. And I want to talk about it. All right. I just want to have a little bit of a chin wag today. So my first taste of the legal office environment was when I was 14. I've already spoken about this, but when I was 14, I had access to an insight day. I think it was an insight day / careers work experience, and it was super interesting. Imagine this, right? I walk into the firm and the huge doors open, a gust of wind goes through my hair, braids, and there's this really cool figurine in the middle of that reception.
Wow.
And I go in and I'm just like, okay, cool. Maybe that's too identifiable. But anyway, the firm was great in my experience. So it's nothing bad. I walk in, the person's like, okay, cool. You just go to this floor. Let me tap you. And I was like, wow. I even get a temporary pass.
Wow.
And then I go up to like the main reception and there's just like all these people walking around in suits. You have a client on another sofa reading the Financial Times and everything is just so cool. And like, I want to say some places are like that, but not everywhere you go will be like that, I think. And that's okay, honestly, because sometimes those environments can be super intimidating. And I don't know, in other times, it depends on who you are and what your preference is. Do you like corporate? Do you not like corporate? Some offices have like a lot more of a, je ne sais quoi. It's just a lot more relaxed. It's not like as intense or imposing or, you know, glossy and shiny. It's a lot more personal and like down to earth. I have also experienced, especially in like other law firms, smaller law firms, mid-sized law firms, they just different. All right, I don't even know how to say that, but they're different. Okay, so one of the things that I personally, I don't know if you guys shared this, but the reality or the ideal of being in like a corporate office environment is like working hours. I think we can all agree that the long working hours is something that is like heart in heart. If you don't work in corporate law and you're not doing long hours, you're not working hard enough. This is true to some extent. I think there's definitely truth to the conception that, you know, law is super intense and it's super hard and the work requires you to work really long hours. Number one, really depends on the department that you're working in. So if you're working in something that is not as high intense and the work is quite slow, you have a much longer period of time, the clients aren't so demanding, there is no reason why you cannot go home at 5 or 5:30 whenever you finish work. And in the same breath, if you work in a super intense department, I don't know, something that's highly litigious, or I don't know, something like business mergers, I would assume that would be quite intense. And especially like when you come towards deadlines, I just find generally across the board, I don't know, it just amps up the pressure and things tend to go wrong and that person hasn't sent over that and we forgot to lodge this at court. And yeah, it's just, I'm not saying that that's what has happened at the firm that I'm currently working at. I'm just saying from different people I've spoken to, and my experience is that things tend to get very intense when you're about to approach a deadline, a court deadline, a client deadline, a limitation. Yeah, a department might just be consistently like no one in the department leaves before 10. That might be a possibility, and some days in the week they might leave early, or on time rather. On some days they might leave super late. So yeah, personally I think that is actually very accurate. Another thing I think, especially in relation to time management when you're working in a law firm that is preconceived, is that you will not have so much of like a strong social life, especially on the weekends. Like you'll have to work on the weekends or go into the office on the weekends. Again, everything I've said before, very department specific, very like work specific, and also might happen around deadlines, might not. Depends on the culture of the firm and like just the nature of the work that you're doing. Money, I think everyone let me tell you something. When I watch Suits, okay, and I watched how the clothes that people wore and like the technology and the private driver that people had, I was like, sure, we all know you got some money all up in there, all right? See, I am not going to say anything about like partner salaries because I'm obviously not a partner. But I think even just like as a paralegal, first of all, the pay disparity between paralegals in the UK and the US are hugely different. Like I've seen US paralegals be paid like 50k 50k, and I've also seen UK paralegals being paid between like 20 or even 18k to 25 to 26 to 27. Yeah, I think the pay thing is probably like maybe 50% of the reason a lot of people decide to go into law. It pays super well, you know, if you do this then whatever, and you can just leave law. And you can leave law. I feel like law has so many transferable skills, but I don't know if I'd be motivated by the money in the UK. I think if I was in the US, I was like, I don't know, and in 80k it might be a different story. Pay, is the pay what I expected it to be? The first apprenticeship that I done, the pay was interesting, with a capital I. Like when I looked at it then I was like, wow, this is like, it's low but like I can live on it. I didn't have too many bills. I was literally just I was helping towards the bills, and I had to pay to and from travel and food. Like I wasn't doing direct debit this and, you know, rent that. But now I looked back on it, there's no way that I'd be able to like survive on that money at all. So yeah, the money does what it needs to be doing. All right. I don't think there's any harm in, you know, desiring to have good money and like working in a firm and expecting a particular salary. If you are able to fill that role, then do it. I say, why not? I've encountered people in the office environment and also in non-office environment, just like working in general, who are staying because they have to, because they've like kind of become accustomed to a particular lifestyle or life setting, and they don't really like their job anymore, their role, which is why I say, like, obviously I'm not saying you're gonna love the job for like 10, 30, 40, 50 years. That really depends on you, but I find law super interesting. I feel like there's a very large capacity in me for law, but as I say, you know, tastes do change in terms of interest. So I think even if you are going into something for coin, make sure you're interested in the topic as well. The next topic category is the people, le peuple. Like I've worked in a non-legal office before. A lot more friendliness in non-legal office environments. I don't know what it is. Actually, because it was in a non-legal office environment where I first saw like workplace bullying. People can be super ruthless. Like, they will drag you for filth.
Get over here.
Which is why I think it's so, like, how you navigate the office environment is so important. It's so important. Your reputation is important. Your like how people perceive you, it has some degree of importance. I don't particularly care anymore. I mean, obviously I'm not trying to like move mad, but in the same breath, like, your perception of me is entirely your own business. That has got nothing to do with me. And then I also think some people are actually just interesting. Like, their character is just, I would never behave like that. I would never respond to a situation like that. And actually, I would be concerned if someone that I cared about responded in the way that some of the people that I've interacted in the office environment has responded to particular situations before. I do not think it's ever okay to like bully anyone in the workplace or, you know, marginalize someone based on how they look. I don't run like that. Let me say something. I have noticed in companies that are smaller, it's almost as if the workplace becomes your social life. Because people have spent a lot of time in the office, probably because they're staying really late at work, you know, people tend to natter and just spread your business. Which is why I've learned some things. Just close your mouth, all right? Face your front. The office environment is quite technical, in my opinion. And it can be political, but it doesn't have to be. It really depends on the individuals involved. And that's not to say that, you know, it's like scary and like if you go into any office environment, people just pounce on you. It's just like being aware of the fact that there are multiple characters and personalities and people from different backgrounds dealing with their own insecurities. Some people might even project those insecurities onto you. That is just something that people do, whether you're in the office environment or not, whether you're in the legal environment or not. I think the other thing is clients. I don't know if this is something that people perceive, but I tend to think either clients are like super, you know, just like know nothing about the law and they're always trying to get you to like bend it, which is definitely a perception that I picked up from Suits, or they're just super sneaky, or like they even try to get their lawyers to like lie and bend the law and all that kind of stuff. That is illegal, all right? Don't do that. The SRA will be knocking on your door. Okay, but definitely there was also a perception that the clients are super demanding and like, you know, just quite needy. Most clients are not like that. You will get a few who are, you know, quite specific in what they want and their wording, etc. But on the most part, people tend to be really quite nice and quite helpful when it comes to providing information and receiving updates. And they're just like, some clients are really lovely and they're so appreciative and so nice to work with. And then others you have are a bit more demanding, and you know, there's a way to work with them as well, which can make it enjoyable. The point being that the workplace, working in the legal arena, has definitely changed my perspective on what it means to be a lawyer, like from before. I'm talking about like pre actually entering / pre working in law, compared to now. Sorry. Just wanted to share some of my observations on different areas of that. So I hope you guys found this video interesting, and if you did, then please comment, subscribe. In fact, just subscribe and leave a comment. You don't even need to like the video. I don't even care. I do not business about the liking bit. Comments, I really want to think. As a final comment, is the corporate world everything it's cracked up to be? It is not all that glistens is gold, is what I'll say. I think sometimes, like, I literally sit back and think. There was one firm that I did. We were doing a tour. It was a huge firm, and they were showing us around. They were like, we have just loads of stuff here. I won't say what they had in the firm because I think it will probably identify them. And they showed us the bed section. So in some law firms, they have beds in the firm or somewhere you can like rest. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And the paralegal that was taking us around was like, it is really cool, but one of the partners literally hasn't been home in a week. And I was like, chill. Yeah, he just hasn't been home to see his family in a week. I was like, where he live? And I was like, in the law firm, of course. So yeah, it not all that glistens is gold. It might look like a, you know, really amazing place to work at, but I mean, it comes at a cost, it sounds like. I don't know, it's just every day I'm learning something new about what it's like to work in an office environment. I obviously do not work in corporate law because it is a human rights firm that I'm working at right now. But I have, you know, worked in, and it's an office environment anyway. So I'm rambling on. Thank you so much for watching, and have a phenomenal day.